Hello, everyone,
Welcome.
to First Frames First.
My name is Adrian Constant. Adrian Constantin.
With us today, very special guest, Mike Lindsay. Filmmaker, author, all-around excellent human being. We're going to do a second podcast for a couple weeks from now. But for now, Adrian and I've been introduced to rugby this year.
That's right, because right now, as we speak, is the Rugby World Cup. And so I have been in my glory because I love rugby.
Right. So we are going to get into a little bit of rugby today and see where this podcast takes us. Get ready.
Who are we?
Nobody's.
Speak for yourself.
Okay. We're Canadian filmmakers with the dream of surviving financially on the backs of our films.
Welcome to our show where we bring people along on our film journey.
Maybe we can learn a thing or two.
Maybe we can teach people a thing or two while drinking beers.
I mean, if you can't drink beers while filmmaking, what's the point?
We are Fable Forest Films, failing our way to success.
Welcome to Jurassic Park. I mean, our show. First Frames First.
So, firstly, Mike, have you ever played rugby? Do you know anything about rugby?
I have not played rugby.
Mike,
I know
Tell us what you know about rugby.
what I know about rugby. I know the word scrum.
Boom.
I know about lateral passes.
See, incorrect. They got to be backward passes.
Backward passes.
They look
I'm already
lateral,
out. I'm already
They
out.
look lateral, but
but they are in fact.
It's one of the several non-stick based games.
so here's the thing. I have always thought rugby was dumb. Okay? I'm just going to put it out there. Now, I've never watched rugby. I'm only saying that I thought rugby was dumb based on no good reason whatsoever.
I always thought it was too rough for me. I was too much of a wuss to try. So
Yeah, I told Adrian that my
scared of it.
introduction to rugby was Monty Python,
Mm.
The Meaning of Life. There's this moment where was it before or after the guy is like teaching sex ed by having sex with his wife in front of a class of boys. Excuse me, Johnson, pay attention. Okay, dear, I'll be entering you now. Good, excellent. If you could just move your leg to the left. So after that, they get into a teachers versus students rugby match, and the teachers just smash the kids. They're stomping on their heads.
Yeah.
It looks ridiculously violent. So we decide, but Adrian's always gushing about rugby. Won't shut up about rugby. Rugby's amazing. Rugby's the greatest sport ever. I'm super excited to write a rugby movie. So this year I was like, okay, let's watch some rugby. So as a joke, I brought my wife over because in the winter we sat down and we watched a lot of basketball.
Yes, because the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
Because the Toronto Raptors were in the finals.
Right.
You know, we decided to support. We were total bandwagoners, and so we started watching it. And when there's a tournament on and you have a team that you're rooting for,
Yeah.
life is great. It's
crazy,
so
yeah.
fun. You're like, come on, let's support our team. Let's get together and watch this game. And it just, I don't know, it makes life pretty interesting.
So Anne and I ended up at Adrian and Heather's place multiple times a week watching basketball. And when it was all over, we were like, oh,
now what
guess
do we
we're
do?
not going to hang out with you guys anymore.
We're not friends anymore.
But it's World Cup. So
Rugby time.
I'm like, sweetheart, come on over. And we show up, and on the kitchen table is this board with all the drawings. And he's like, okay, I'm going to teach you guys how to rugby.
Perfect.
So I figure no one watching our show has ever seen rugby before. So we're going to have this discussion here. Now, should I bring the GoPro in, or are people going to be able to see what's happening here?
Do you know what?
I'm going to step out of the way. Here we go.
Okay. So in every rugby team, every rugby team, on each side you have 15 players. Okay? Now every player has a different job. Okay? So now when there is a scrum, so I'm gonna explain everything from the point of view of when there's a scrum. When all the forwards are doing, they've got their heads together and their shoulders
Linked
interlocked
up,
and they're pushing against each other. So that's what happens right here. Right? Boom, boom, boom. Here's the scrum. And these are your 3 sort of heaviest players. Okay? And this is your number 1, number 2, number 3. And they're the 1, 2, and 3. So, like for basketball, you can pick any number you want. Or for football, it'll be like, I'm number 77. But on rugby, your number denotes what position you are.
Oh, okay.
So, here you have the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then you'll have the other forwards. And then you have the guy right at the back. Then you have 2 guys on the sides. Okay? Now, this group right over here and this group right over here are called your forwards. Okay? So they have a very specific job. And their job is generally they're going to ruck over the ball.
Ruck.
So, yeah. So
I have heard that word. I know.
Okay.
I know ruck too.
Now, one of the rules you need to know about rugby is that the ball cannot be passed forwards.
Mm-hmm.
The ball can only be passed backwards. But it looks like a lateral pass. So when this guy's passing to this guy, right, when he's passing to him, he's actually passing backwards. But on camera, it looks like he's throwing it sideways. But it is going backwards. And if it goes forwards, you'll be penalized for that. Okay, so what happens in this situation right here, say for instance there is a scrum. The one team is scrumming the other team. Now I'm going to give you kind of like this is what happens in a lot of, it's a very common rugby movement. And I'll just explain to you, like there are other rules, there's lots of sort of little rules about what to do where, but like this basic play that I'm going to explain is kind of the way that rugby runs. Okay, so this guy, their job is to like protect the ball and to push over the ball, and they're the guys that are just kind of grinding against each other. These guys, the forwards, right? This is your back line right here, okay? And this guy, he hangs out on the left wing. This guy hangs out on the right wing. So this guy, he's number 9, right? And his job almost always is to take the ball out of the ruck or the scrum. Now, a ruck is basically when there's a pile of human bodies. Whenever you see a pile of human bodies, as soon as there's more than 2 people, as soon as there's more than the person that had the ball and the person that tackled the guy with the ball, then you're going to have a ruck. So as soon as somebody comes in and binds their shoulder, it's now a ruck. And now the number 9, his job is to come to the edge of the ruck and he's going to zing it to this guy. Okay, now I'm just giving you the general way that this play happens. He usually will zing it to the number 10. Okay, now the number 10 might kick. He can do whatever he wants, but in a sort of a typical play, what might happen is he would give it to the number 12. The number 12 would give it to the number 13. 10, 12, 13, yeah, because the 11 will be somewhere else.
I was gonna say, is 11 unlucky in rugby?
No, he's the winger. So I think he's on one of these corners. This guy's, and then this is your back. So the 10, then the 12, then the 13. Then you have your wingers. So I don't remember if there's a left wing I think I was left wing and I was number 11, I think. And then your 15 is the guy that hangs at the back and usually protects things. Now, so what would happen is the ball comes out. As soon as the ball comes out of here, these guys will break up. They're not interested in being where the ball is not. Their job is to protect the ball, right? So the ball comes, it'll get swing, swing, swing. This guy is running this way as hard as he can. He'll get tackled here by a blue guy. Okay? Now, it's the job of these guys here to when he gets tackled here, these guys, or anyone that's in the area, but really it's these guys' job. Actually, this specifically, this guy, and this guy, is to be there, to ruck over the ball and protect the ball. Because when this guy gets tackled, he has one movement. He's allowed to take the rugby ball and he's allowed to place it for his team. If he's not protected, the tackler or somebody from the tackler's team can come in and grab the ball. So the team has to place the ball, plus his team needs to protect the ball from the other team. Once they protect the ball, so it's like just looks like a mass of bodies, and they just protect the ball, and then the ball gets placed at the back, and the number 9 is now going to be there to recycle the ball, start again. Now what will happen is once the guys get here, he might not pass it to the number 10 every time. Like he might pass it to one of these big guys, and they get it, and they just charge forward a little bit. They get tackled. The guys protect the ruck over the ball. He passes it to another big guy, and they drive the ball towards this line.
Yeah.
So the way that you score is you have to place the ball.
Is by trying.
It's called a try. It irritates Jay because he's like, why is it called a try? Why isn't it called a
Do or do not.
success?
Do or do not. There's no try.
There is no try. So you need to put the ball behind this line, place it. So there's no throwing or losing grip of the ball. And that is, if you do that, you get 5 points. Then you have an opportunity to kick it through the poles. And what these poles look like is an H. Okay? So here are the 2 posts.
And there's a crossbar.
Yeah. So if you score over here, you'd need to bring it back in line with where you scored it. Put it here. And then you got to kick it through. The ball will spin nicely. If it goes through the posts, you get another 2 points. If you do an infraction, if you make a mistake and you are penalized, anywhere where this team can kick it through, and they decide, because you have the choice. You're gonna if you get penalized, you can kick for the poles. You can also kick it out, or you can scrum. You can kind of choose what you want to do. But if there's a penalty and they kick it through the posts, they get 3 points. And that's kind of basically how the points are tallied. So what happens is the ball gets passed out, somebody will run in, get tackled, his team will come drive over the ball to protect the ball, and then they will recycle the ball again and keep driving against the other team closer and closer towards the line until they put the ball on the other side of the line. Place it. That is the basic structure of the way rugby is played. Now, different things happen. Like these guys, when these guys take the ball and pass it, they might pass it to him and he passes it all the way to 14. Sometimes 15 will break through here. Sometimes this guy will run, he'll burst forward like this and he'll pass it inside to this guy who goes, you know what I mean, number 7. So the play changes dynamically.
Some strategy.
Yeah, but usually the ball is coming out the back of the ruck. Number 9 or usually number 9 will be at the ball and he'll distribute the ball to the team who's going to drive it into the other team. The only thing, it just looks like a mess of bodies, but there is a reason. It's not just a mess. The guys are doing a very specific job. They're making sure that the other team cannot get to the ball.
Good stuff. Now
the thing is, when a ruck is formed, once it's called a ruck, you cannot, like, if the ball is there, I can't, like, it's now a ruck. We've been pushing against each other, and the ball is there in your feet. Even if I can see it, I'm not allowed to reach for it with my hand like this. Okay. In order for me to get the ball, so if you actually are forward here, in order for me to get the ball, I actually have to drive you back so that the ball is under my feet, and I can use my feet to move it backwards. So once a ruck is formed, before a ruck is formed, so what you'll have is someone will tackle somebody before somebody else arrives. If they're able to get the ball before anybody arrives, then they've stolen the ball. That's why your guys have to be there so fast. Because if you get tackled, you have to let go of the ball.
Okay.
So once you're on the ground, you can't hold the ball once you're on the ground. You have to let it go. Now they allow you to place it.
Yeah.
But if you place it and there's no one there, the other
Somebody else
team
can grab it.
is allowed to just pick it up.
So yeah, it's different
because there's no ruck. All right.
Very good.
So I'm just saying, isn't this the sexiest film podcast that you've seen us do?
So actually, one of my dream movies is to make now it's going to happen because I said it. It's to make a rugby movie. Like I don't know if you guys ever saw Varsity Blues.
No.
So Varsity Blues is like this high school love, it's totally melodramatic. It's James Van Der Beek. And it's just like, it's all about like high school, having fun, and football. Yeah. But the way that they glorify the football was with just an epic soundtrack and just slow motion, big hits, sweaty kids. They suck and then they get better, come back to win it all. And like, I just want to do that for rugby.
Yeah.
I want to make a movie that glorifies rugby so that when you watch it, you're like, oh, Yeah, like a big hit. Somebody kicks the ball. You just see the ball flying through the air, slow motion. Just like, as people get hit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Puddle Cruiser?
no.
It's the Broken Lizards crew that did Super Troopers. It's
Yeah.
their first feature that they filmed in college, and it's not about rugby, but there's a rugby element to it.
Okay, cool.
So
We'll check it
you'll
out.
You have to have a look at it.
We've been watching the World Cup, and it is exciting.
It's
You know
incredible.
what? Rugby.
Tell me what you think about rugby from someone that knew nothing at the beginning of this World Cup to like someone who is like. Now here's the thing. His wife, Jason is going to watch rugby. Now we're going upstairs after this to watch a game. And you're welcome to join if you want.
Maybe I'll join.
But Anne is not here to watch the game. I don't think rugby resonated with her.
She does enjoy it.
Okay.
She does enjoy
Okay.
it. I don't think she has enjoyed it as much as basketball because
Yeah.
it's a little bit foreign.
Yeah.
I will say, I really enjoy it. What I like the most about it, Adrian's kind of describing, and I think what I like the most about it is that the play does not have to stop. Like, they can crunch into the guys, the ball comes out, they throw it, they move, they gain inches, but every time they stop and they crunch, they just bring the ball back and the guy gets it and they keep going. And if the other team can get it, they can go. The play never has to stop, really. It does. But when you watch football, every play there's a stop.
Flag, whistle,
every single play, right?
Yeah, so the thing is that you do have, like, there was a game, and I can't remember. It was just recently that I watched it. It was, I think it was, oh shoot, I can't remember. But
Yeah.
the guys were like, the commentators were like, we have been watching 15 minutes of continuous play.
Wow.
The whistle hadn't gone.
The guys
15
are
minutes.
exhausted,
Yeah,
but
that'd be
they are
crazy.
smashing each other. They're in amazing shape. It's a lot of fun to watch. It really, really is.
Yeah,
intense.
because
Once you kind of get past, once you understand what's happening, because I didn't get it. Prior to it being explained, I had no clue what was happening.
So the thing about sport, which I love, because I actually really enjoyed watching the basketball, and the thing about the basketball is that, well, let me just say, about watching a sport, it's all about the tension, right? And the thing about baseball, which is so great about baseball, is every time the guy pitches, anything could happen.
Right.
Like a baseball game, it's almost like it doesn't matter how far down. If if a bunch of people come in and they hit the ball, they can change the game right up to the last minute. Yeah. So that tension every time he pitches, you're like, is great. And basketball is kind of the same. Like, it's really simple to understand basketball. Really, the guy got to throw the ball into the net.
Yeah,
that's it. So every time the ball goes up into the air in your team, you're like, is it going to go in? Is it going to go in? Now, the thing about rugby is that you're like, it's like, that is like, as they drive closer, it's just, you can't tear your eyes away from the screen because every inch they get a little bit closer, and then somebody breaks through a tackle and they're running and you're like, just the tension keeps going. So it's just about the tension, right? And it's great. It's just a great sport. In my opinion, it's like, I think it's the greatest team sport in the world. Like, also the thing is, for every body shape, there's a position for you in rugby. Like in basketball, if you're not really tall or really super excellent, generally people don't think you're going to be a great basketballer. Whereas rugby, for the really heavy guys that are, just huge, there's a spot for them. For the really little guys who are really quick, there's a position for you, right? Those are usually your number 9s. For the really big, fast runners, that's going to be like a 12 and 13.
What about like a short, fat, kind of slow guy?
Yeah, those are your 1, 2s, and 3s.
There you go.
I mean, in these days, they're not like that.
Or the coach.
They're not really short. They're all kind of on the taller side, on the bigger side. But like, you would 100% have a place in a rugby team. Doesn't matter your shape.
Yeah, that's excellent.
As long as you got a heart and you're willing to go.
I will say there was which game were we watching the other day where it was New Zealand versus
Namibia. So
Namibia
is ranked the worst team in the world.
And New Zealand, the All Blacks, are ranked number 1.
Yeah.
these two guys were going. So you're watching the game and you just assume. I don't even know why we're watching this game because New Zealand is just going to crush Namibia. But the hosts or the commentators rather were like, the thing about Namibia is that these guys are sure they're the best in the country, but they also have jobs.
Yeah.
That guy's
They're not
a banker.
professional athletes. Yeah,
This guy over here, number 3, is a dentist. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so it really was like a movie because they were like,
Such underdogs.
this is the last time these guys will ever play in the World Cup. Next week, they're going to go back to being a dentist.
Yeah.
And they were giving it everything they had. The New Zealand guys were like, what the fuck is happening right now?
At one stage, they were, I don't know if they were leading, but they had 9 points.
They were leading.
Well, but I think they were at like 9-5 or something like that. Namibia was leading New Zealand, which is wild.
Yeah.
I mean, it unraveled.
Yes, it did.
And then the best team in the world came into their own. They brought it back in the second half, and
But man, it was exciting.
it was exciting because you're really rooting for the team of guys who have jobs and who are playing. And the commentators were saying like, this guy who has a job, and he was a flanker, which means he's one of these forwards. He's a forward, but he's a fast forward, so he needs to be at the breakdown. Right? They were like, this guy went toe to toe with the best opposite flanker in the world, the best guy in the world, and he held his own.
Yeah.
And he's got a job.
He's not doing it for the paycheck. He's doing it because it's what he loves to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like what we do.
Well, yes, and you know what? But we want a paycheck.
Yes.
Let's not.
We can love two things.
Yeah,
Those guys want a paycheck too.
they do.
Yeah.
They would if they could play. I'm sure if they could play professionally.
Anyways,
they would.
you guys can tell Adrian enjoys rugby. He's got something down inside his guts. He loves his South African team. We both wore South African shirts when they were playing once, just to cheer them on. And someday, watch out. We're gonna do something with rugby.
We made the breakdown for the rugby movie, and it was pretty great.
Yeah.
I think it was
one of our long trips to Toronto. Our little rugby movie started to.
Yeah, and as it was coming together, we were like, "Oh, this would be great! This would be great! This would be great!" So it was quite exciting.
Nice. Yeah.
You know, I think I just think it's a movie that should be made.
You guys keep an eye out.
All right, listen, everybody.
I'm not going to
Before we stop,
Yeah.
I heard we were going to talk about rugby today, and I actually brought something for you, Adrian.
Oh.
I don't know if rugby fans are similar to soccer fans in that they're really rabid, head to head, and I don't know if this is going to make us enemies or if it's going to make us friends.
Oh shit!
But I brought that for you.
It's cologne. It's the All Blacks cologne. I will not wear this.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I had it. To be honest, it's a little bit selfish because I had it in my house. So I'm trying to pack things and get rid of things that I don't think I need. So
Smells like Smells like
Smells
victory.
good.
Damn it! Smells like winning.
Like a winner, yeah.
God damn it!
Smells like victory. This is unexpected. Thanks so much, dude. This is amazing because this is probably the number 1 contender for the World Cup victory.
Yeah.
And I would say, South Africa's looking really good.
Nice.
But all the teams at the top are looking great. They're looking strong. It's going to be a great World Cup, man.
We're about to go watch Japan play Ireland, I think.
Yes, and the thing is that it's the decider for the Pool A teams, and the winner of this match decides who's going to play South Africa in the next round. So, dream big and work hard for the audio.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for watching.
First frames first.
Yes, first frames first. Thank you, Jason.
Welcome.
If you enjoyed, head over to our website, www.thefableforest.com. Check out our films and sign up for our newsletter where we will send you exclusive content.
Hit us up on our socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, always at The Fable Forest. And share our show with your friends. It'll really help us out a lot.
Dream big.
Work hard.